Good morning, everybody. Um, it's great to see you this morning. I hope everybody can hear me okay. The smile from Charlene's face is giving me hope that I am communicating. So thank you so much for joining us today for BOM's 2020 Art and Tech Summit. It's a funny old time, so we really appreciate you spending your time with us today. We're really excited about the event, and we think that there's going to be some really fascinating ideas and theories and lots of inspiration and lots of bits and bobs that you can take away, I think, and put into your own practice or your own thinking around how we work with technology and society, essentially. So my name is Louise Latter, and I'm the curator at BOM. BOM is Birmingham Open Media. We are an arts organisation based in Birmingham in the UK, and we are working at the intersection of science and technology. I'm a white mid-30-year-old woman. A woman in her mid-30s. I am not 30, sadly. I have a sort of shoulder-length brown bob with a short fringe, gold hoop earrings, and the back of me I have a sort of brick wall. I'm actually in BOM today, so that's great. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and the other things I need to tell you are that as wonderful as you are, if you could stay muted as much as possible, that would be great. As I'm sure we've all done a lot of Zooms, etc. We know how distracting it is when someone is scurrying about on their screen. Please use the chat to talk to each other, to comment on the content, to ask questions. There's no formal Q&A sections. We will just be, if we have the chance, we will be able to bring in the questions that you may have. And if we don't do that, then we will be able to pass them on to the people who are contributing. Cameras aren't needed, so if you don't want to have your camera on, that's absolutely fine, but we are recording the session, so please be aware of that. Ben has just commented in the chat. So Ben Neal, who is my colleague at BOM, he's our digital producer, is on hand to help with any technical needs. He's my extra pair of hands. So anything that you need, just message Ben, please, directly. That'd be fab. He can't bring you a cup of tea and a biscuit, sadly. Only digital skills with Ben. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about how the event came about, and then I'll briefly go through the schedule, and then I'll pass over to Charlene, who's going to introduce herself. So I met Charlene, I think it was, God, time has warped this year, but I believe it was the beginning of this year, I think so. We have no idea because, like I say, time has gone into a sort of warp. And I came across a vibe called tech via Instagram. And I was really interested in Charlene's approach, this sort of multifaceted approach to talking about the Black experience, about culture, about technology, and doing that in lots of different ways. And she'll talk about the ways that she's doing that in a minute. So we got chatting, and we are actually planning an exhibition at BOM towards the end of next year. So I really wanted to take this opportunity to do this event, to really build the ideas, to get inspiration and build an audience around the themes that we're exploring today. So really it's like a sort of live research events / project for me as a curator, building up energy and momentum for this work that's going to be coming to BOM next year. But this is an event in its own right, and some of the people who are contributing are probably, that's probably news to them as well, but this is its own event where there has been a certain provocation as well that's been given out to the contributors, and Charlene will be talking about that a little bit more. So this morning, Charlene and I are going to talk really briefly, and then hopefully we're going to be handing over to Damara, who is going to be doing a no face filter workshop with us. So using Spark AR, she's going to be teaching us all how to design a no face filter that protects your identity amongst the sort of CCTV, which is everywhere at the moment. And then after that, we will be heading into a conversation with Charlene and Rashad Newsom, which is the pre-recorded sessions who Rashad is based in California in the US, and it's a bit early there now. So they're going to be talking mainly around Rashad's practice and also around really his project being. And then we're going to have a bit of a lunch break. And then we are going to go right into a session with Gloria Adoretti, who is joined by Mazialeti Mabewe, who is a queer futurist. So they're going to be talking about how tech can save us and the environment through a futurist lens. And then after that, we have Maxwell Matanda, who is here. I can see him. And Maxwell will be introducing his current research, which focuses on digital infrastructures and inequalities in sub-Saharan Africa as an extension of colonial capitalism. So that sounds fascinating. Then we're going to have a little break. And then we are going to be joined by Kemi and Ari, who are working with iBeam. So they're joining us from the northeast of the US, and they're going to be discussing iBeam's Rapid Response Fellowship. So looking at pedagogy, Afrocentric cultural approaches to creative practice, and specifically Ari's residency created for Black international creative technologists. So as you can tell, there's a fun, packed day, and obviously dip in and out as you can. And yeah, really looking forward to hearing your comments and seeing what you get from this day of insight and inspiration. So hello, good morning, Charlene.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. It's like Louise said, it's a very weird time, and we're all spending far too much of that time on video calls. So I appreciate people um, doing this and being here. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a Black woman, mid-30s, long braids, also wearing gold hoops. They're clearly in vogue at the moment. And I'm at Somerset House in London, in the shared working space called The Exchange, which has been very quiet for a long time now. I'm sat on like in a yellow booth. So, as Louise said, we met early on this year and started having conversations about the kind of intersection between Black creativity and technology. And this is very much, like she said, a research kind of process, but an event in itself. In that I think it's a really important time for us to be talking about the effects of technology on the Black community, which is what I do with a vibe called Tech, which is the public engagement initiative that I set up nearly 2 years ago now, which feels a bit crazy. And the premise of it was to look at how technology affects the Black community, specifically in the UK. There's lots of amazing work happening in the US, and we've borrowed from our brothers and sisters there today. There's going to be lots of conversation, my conversation with Rashad and iBeam as well, like Louise said, is coming out of New York or northeast of America. So it's really important that debate is progressing there really strongly. But it's kind of important also to bring that conversation to Europe. I think we saw with Black Lives Matter over summer that there are lots of similarities in the Black experience across Europe and the US, but also there are lots of differences. And the more we can understand those differences in various contexts, and like technology being one of them, the better position we'll be in to move to resolve some of those issues. So on that note, the provocation for today was, can technology save us? I definitely wasn't saying in that it can, but I'm interested in both the positive impacts of technology on the Black community, as well as some of the more negative implications, and how that works and plays out here, how it works and plays out in America, how it works and plays out in Africa, which Maxwell will be talking about. So that's what people are going to be playing around with today. All of that's coming from a creative perspective. Vibe called Tech is also a creative agency. So I'm really interested in the role that kind of artists and creatives can play in this kind of technology and Blackness narrative. So yeah, I'm really excited about today, and I'm glad we're recording it. And so if you end up having to miss bits, please come back and watch them later.